We're showing respect to our next set of candidates. These two folks are running for state senate. Down, we have one final set of candidates. And this is a very critical race because we are going to be electing a Hawaii County Mayor. Gabby, I'm glad to see you're in place now. Don't have to yell at you, but I see Penny is still from there. Okay, I'd like to welcome our two candidates for Hawaii County Mayor. And please, again, hold your applause till I introduce both of them. We have on the left incumbent Mayor Billy Kenoi, who has served for 4 years and is going for 4 more. And then we have former Mayor Perry Kim, who was Civil Defense Director for 24 years and was Mayor for 8 years and is running again. Let's welcome them both. Big Waimea welcome. All right, we're going to start with a 2-minute question that is going to go to each one of you. Just in 2 minutes, talk about what you see as the biggest challenges. Why are you laughing, Mayor Kim? Oh yeah, I want to remind you, you're probably tired of me asking you questions, but you have to do it just one more time. Okay. What are the biggest challenges that you see facing Hawaii County, not just for the next 2 years or 4 years, but really for the next generation? And we'll start with you, former Mayor Kim. And 2 minutes, and you know the rules. 15 seconds, the yellow card, and at the red card, your POW. And Mr. Ethan will reinforce that.
Oh, she will. The reason I was laughing is it's the same question that was asked of me from Honolulu. And I was stated what I stated then. Over 20 years ago, mayor's candidate asked me to support her. I did not get involved in politics those days. And it's ironic that here we are, much later, and the problem is just bigger. The time when I stated in writing, you guys to politics, I felt that at that time, that the biggest problem facing the state of Hawaii was a growing gap between the haves and have-nots. A growing problem with people having a very difficult time living in Hawaii because of housing costs, transportation costs, and all costs in comparison to their pay. Here it is over 20 years later, and I just looked up the state's latest data. And it showed that the problem is growing, and continues to grow. I do not know how many of you are aware of this, but at this time, it's approximately 30% of the state population, including obviously the island of Hawaii, who falls in one of 3 categories. Of them, the homeless, the at-risk. At-risk are those whose pays are taken away for a couple of months who would join the homeless. And the hidden. The hidden are those that are very popular in Hawaii, of 2 or 3 families living together to make a go. The only difference between 20+ years and today is this problem is much bigger. And this is what I've asked of legislators and other people. How big a percentage do we allow this to happen in the state of Hawaii before we look back and say, what have we done to our people? That is the biggest problem then, it's the biggest problem now, along with all other infrastructure problems, nothing can compare to this. This is something we must all acknowledge and we must all address.
Thank you. Mayor Billy Kenoi, what do you think some of the biggest challenges are facing our island for the next 2-4 years, but also really for the next generation?
Well, there's a couple of challenges that we have to all collaboratively and collectively address. One is clearly the high cost of energy. 42 cents a kilowatt is unacceptable for the quality of life of our future. We cannot continue to be dependent on fossil fuels when we're 2,500 miles from anywhere else in the world. We have to continue to develop our vast array of renewable energy, solar, wind, ocean thermal energy conversion, geothermal, so we're less dependent on fossil fuels. We have to continue to create economic opportunity for our children. And that's just not in the agricultural sector, the hospitality industry, in the construction industry, but also around science and technology, around higher education. The University of Hawaii at Hilo has to continue to be a center of academic excellence for our future. If we can grow our community, instill hope in our children, give them opportunity for the future while maintaining our high quality of life. We have to continue to have a government that treats everyone on this 4,028 square mile island fairly and equitably. We cannot govern from one location when there's so many communities that deserve government communication, support, infrastructure, and implementation of programs and services. We have to address the challenges that we all collectively face. That's a continuing growing population. How do we provide economic opportunity, educational support, while still providing infrastructure? Transportation, getting people from where they live to where they need to be for employment and education, and back home again safely is going to be critically important. We're not going to see 4 lanes in South Kona or 4 lanes in Hamakua anytime soon. That means we have to continue to develop a safe, efficient, and timely transportation system to get people out of their cars and into a system off of the roads that mitigates and alleviates traffic congestion for a higher quality of life.
Thank you. Mayor Billy Kenoi, please keep the microphone. We're going to have a 90-second question. You mentioned one of the big challenges is the high cost of energy. Clearly that's something we've addressed here tonight already with several of our candidates. But in 90 seconds, tell us what you think you as the mayor can do to address that, understanding that right now the rates that HELCO charges are set by the State Public Utilities Commission. 90 seconds, please.
Correct. Our cost of energy is regulated by the Public Utilities Commission, quasi-judicial body appointed by the governor and regulated by the state of Hawaii. But what we need to do and what we have done these past 4 years at the County of Hawaii is reduce the impact of cost of electricity within our control to all of you, our taxpayers. To that end, we've put on a 250 kilowatt photovoltaic system on the West Hawaii Civic Center. We have a government building in West Hawaii entirely energy free. In Hilo, we put a 100 kilowatt photovoltaic system to reduce energy costs there. We photovoltaic all of our police and fire stations. That will save $1.1 million of taxpayer money over the next decade. We're currently putting in, going out for a request for proposal for a 2.3 megawatt wind farm here in North Hawaii, because the largest user of our energy grid is the County of Hawaii. The largest user within the County of Hawaii is the Department of Water Supply. So it is our responsibility in local county government to lower the cost of government use of electricity, thereby mitigating the impact of high-cost electricity on our taxpayers. It's not enough to just rail against the PUC and their control of electricity rates, but we have to begin to address electricity and the high cost of energy here at the county level. And that's our responsibility and what we've done.
I'm going to give you 30 more seconds because part of the question was, how do you reduce my electricity bill? And so 30 seconds more on that, and Mr. Ethan is going to give you a 15-second yellow card as part of the 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you, Sherry. Well, that's one way we can reduce your energy costs, is not imposing further burdens upon you, not only the ratepayer, but the taxpayer. But what we have to do is not only increase our renewable energy portfolio, but create cheaper renewable energy. And that's why we're opposed to the Aino proposal, because they're asking for a higher surcharge on your electricity bills. And we don't need more renewable energy, we need cheaper renewable energy. So we have to work with the state, the PUC, and our utilities.
Thank you, Mayor Harry Kim. 90 seconds. How do you propose to help reduce the cost of our energy?
I was very surprised when Hawaii Electric Light Company started to buy some ads explaining how the electricity cost is created affecting you. And I was very surprised and very pleased. And until that formula stops in regards to how HELCO buys power, and let's just pick on the geothermal, for example, it's all alternate power that they purchase. We have to change the way the charges to HELCO. I think they put down something called PGV, put in geothermal venture. That put in geothermal venture, and I'll use HELCO's words, that they are making a whirlwind profit out of you. How much to HELCO? Zero. By law, they just buy the power that they were required to buy, at the cost they're required to buy based on the price of oil. And just for round numbers, it's stated this, that put in geothermal venture cost them approximately 8 to 10 cents per kilowatt hour. They are paid 45 to 48 cents per kilowatt hour. So I don't care how many geothermal projects or alternate power projects are made, you will bear the cost because HELCO is bearing the cost, and they just turn the cost over to you. We have to address all of those things that are costing us the money in regards to producing power in including alternate power, obviously.
Mayor Kim, you can have 30 more seconds to make it fair time with Mayor Kenoi.
Yeah, the cost of power is a very complex thing. When I mentioned in open statement because people are having a very difficult time, and I know in the audience like this, you know many people like that. You know, power is one of them. Housing is, everything is related to obviously cost, and everything is related to cost of power. We have to address this in every which way we can to make things better for people.
Thank you. Mayor Kim, keep the microphone. In your opening statement, you mentioned that you believe the biggest and maybe the only challenge that we have for the next generation is the difference between the haves and the have-nots. Give us 90 seconds on how you, as Hawaii County Mayor, would specifically address that issue. 90 seconds.
No, I did not mean to insinuate in any way that this was the only problem. I was trying to answer the question in regards to what is the biggest problem facing the mayor's office. But this is the biggest problem that we face in the state of Hawaii. I don't have to elaborate on it anymore, that we don't want a community that has 40, 50% of the people struggling day to day. You know, 30% is a mind-boggling number. Because of the question, how do you make things better, or what are you going to do about the problems? Everything is related to the cost of living in Hawaii. When you read about people on problems of domestic crime, ICE, and everything else, and when you come and talk to the police and who are these people, a lot of them are the problems of people and just having an extremely difficult time. I closed, my little comment was, we have to stop this path of developing a lifestyle here on this island where so many people are having a very difficult time. Our responsibility of government is to address all those factors. All of you know there is no simple solution, because problems is complex and therefore the solutions are complex. And this is where I'm at by addressing the whole issue, and everyone has to address it.
Mayor Billy Kenoi, take 90 seconds. Obviously the problem of those on this island, the haves and the have-nots, is an issue, but how would you as mayor, or how do you as mayor, address that problem? 90 seconds, please.
Well, it's a series of steps that we have to take to address that challenge. And clearly, one is education, two is employment opportunity, and three is availability and access to quality, affordable housing, transportation, and infrastructure. That's why when we look at affordable housing, sometimes we only look at affordable home ownership, when we need that entire spectrum of housing. Emergency housing, now 1.77 million. West Hawaii Emergency Shelter completed. Then it's transitional shelter. The homes of Uluvini on Hinalani, 12.4 million, 96 units completed. Then it's affordable rentals, providing tax breaks and incentives, and ultimately affordable home ownership. Projects of many years in the making, and now model homes are available. Transportation, seniors, students, and those who are disabled, ride free in the public transportation system. A system that has grown over the last 4 years, and will continue to grow and expand. Yes, it's employment opportunity, but it's higher education. We now have a College of Pharmacy here at the University of Hawaii at Hilo, the only one in the state of Hawaii that provides educational opportunities. 4-year degree here on the island of Hawaii, starting salary $106,000 a year. So clearly it's not one simple answer, but it's education, employment, housing, transportation. And for government, county level, it's providing programs and services to the most vulnerable, our seniors, our children, and those who need it most.
Mayor Kenoi, I'd like you to take 30 more seconds. The solutions you talk about, I think some of them are already in place, but is there a budget impact to anything that you might want to do in the future, understanding that our county budget is a big and complex thing? 30 seconds.
Yes, what we have to do is remember that we're not in this alone. We're all in this together. Dr. Martin Luther King once said, we might have all got here on different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. And what we have to do is utilize our federal relationships. American Recovery Investment Act, we're able to bring in $115 million into the county. We have to work with our senators, our representatives, and we've worked effectively well with them to bring additional state resources. And clearly within our community, it's utilizing everybody and everything we have.
Mayor Kim, 30 seconds. You said that this is a big problem. Are there particular solutions that you would see in Hawaii County that would have a budget impact? And if so, tell us what you thought about relative to any budget impact on helping the haves, having the have-nots have as much as the haves. 30 seconds only.
I think every aspect of what we're talking about affects this problem. This is why I'm proud of initiating the free bus ride. This helps, like it went on to the common council. If you give this person that's traveling from east to west or vice versa free bus, you give them $400,000, $500,000 a month raise. And you give them free water spigots, stop in any expenditure on water that you should all have. Because addressing this problem, this is what automatically affects every aspect of our lifestyle, and we all must address every aspect of it.
Was there a budget impact? Did you have a dollar figure? Because it sounds like you want to reinstitute free bus service and more things. Can you in 15 seconds tell us if there's a budget impact that you've determined?
But a budget impact will always be there regardless of what we do. A balanced budget is term used all the time, but really a balanced budget is required by law. The amount of revenues we get from all of the taxes determine the administration proposal to council upon how we use this money, and the council approves it, modifies it, or disapproves it.
Thank you.
This is what we'll do, look at it. I will put priority on these projects.
Okay, Mayor Kim, why don't you keep it, because that was sort of a follow-up question. I'd like to ask a 90-second question for both of you. What is your plan to improve the economic stability and vibrancy of Hawaii Island? 90 seconds, please.
We have some naturals here that I think is tremendous. I think that 30-meter scope is something that is tremendous for all of us, for the whole island. And this is supported by most people, I think. We should work with the Hawaiian group because all of the concerns was stated to them 40 years ago as an record, and this is what I said then, and I'm not going to take up my time on this, but I think it's worth it. I was called to the county council to comment on the development of Mauna Kea. And I told them at that time, you look at Mauna Kea as a place of science. There's a lot of people that look at Mauna Kea as part of their soul. You trespass on people's soul, please do it lightly, please do it carefully. And I'm sorry that we are learning from hardcore experiences, but we must do this. Because the economy will take advantage of natural things, including agriculture, tourism, and mountain. Let's take a look at all of the assets that we have of natural resources, capitalize them, and develop them.
Thank you. Mayor Kenoi, talk about the specifics of what you would do to improve the economic stability and vibrancy of Hawaii Island, please. 90 seconds.
Well, in any economic initiative, we have to remember that we have to preserve our unique and fragile environment and ecosystem, and preserve our culture, our host culture, and the dignity of our indigenous peoples. But with regards to economic stability and vibrancy, we all need a thriving, vibrant economy so that our working families can create a healthy, safe environment for their children, which means we have to focus on our largest employment sectors. Where are people working? In the sector of agriculture, we have now more people working in the area of agriculture than since 1994 and the closure of sugar. Among the hospitality industry, our largest employer on island, we have to increase airlift, and that's been our commitment these last 4 years. Around construction, a lot of people make their livings through plumbing, electrical work, and through construction. So we have to create incentive and a thriving, facilitated environment by which construction can grow. But science and technology allows us to take advantage of the 21st century knowledge-based economy for our children to take advantage of. That's why Mauna Kea is a sacred mountain. Celestial navigation, astronomy, is a sacred science to Native Hawaiians. It is entirely appropriate that a sacred science should occur in a sacred place. But more important is that science and technology and expertise and experience should be given to our children, that our children can grow and have the tools for science and technology, and they can compete with anybody, anywhere in the world.
Mayor, can I keep the microphone 90 seconds? Tourism, the visitor industry, is one of our, actually it is our biggest industry on this island. So in 90 seconds, talk about specifics on how you intend to support the visitor industry going forward, which affects us here in Waimea, because we have things that people come to. 90 seconds.
Exactly, and hospitality isn't just about hotels and rental cars and restaurants. It's about our small business folk. It's about our farmers markets. It's about people benefiting from the economic vitality and infusion of capital that comes to our community. But what we needed was airlift. We have to get people to Hawaii Island, to Mokuokeawe, before they can keep people working. And we focused on airlift. In the last 4 years, we now have direct flights into Kona from Oakland, San Jose, Portland, and Seattle. We're now working with Hawaiian Airlines to get direct flights from Haneda into Kona and back again. And what that does, it fills up our hotels, it fills up our restaurants, our rental cars, but it supports our small businesses. And the small businesses are the backbone of our island community. You know, it's about giving people hope, giving people opportunity, giving people an ability to provide for their own families. It's very important that we support the hospitality industry. We're very proud. So far this year, arrivals are up 8%. Expenditures are up 16.8%. $1 billion are now in the Hawaii Island economy. It's not about depending solely on the hospitality industry, but if you go down to any hotel, I've gone there, and I see people, they come up and say, hey, thanks, Mayor Kenoi. Now I got extra hours to take care of my family. And thanks for the support of the industry that provides us an opportunity to take care of our family. It's not some big, ambiguous industry or economy. It's about our working families.
Thank you. Mayor Kim, 90 seconds. How do you specifically plan to support the visitor industry here on the island?
Well, many years ago, when this was asked, countries that was identified as a future for Hawaii was increased visitors. 2 countries that were identified as Korea and Japan, and both of them had the same problem because of the visa problem. I was stunned. I remember when we had some Chinese delegates explain to us in all of China that there were only 3 places in all of China that you could go to get a traveling visa. And he was talking about Yao, the basketball player, had to travel a couple of thousand miles to get the approval. And what they were doing was asking for any help to help those countries eliminate the problem. And Korea just did it. I think Putin is in the result right now. In regards to specific type of help, I think when we converse with the travel industry here, you know, one thing that they always seem to point out is that we're just a hotel, and yes, we provide for their recreation and entertainment, but the biggest help you can give us is to make this a nice place to live. Because your infrastructure, your roads, your parks, all of the state parks and national parks as well, including the bathroom, the police, and the fire. And that's our responsibility by law, obviously, in regards to those basic things. All parks are very important to us. And these are the things we continuously must work in short, work with the tourist industry to see what they identify as will be the greatest help to them and to work on it.
Thank you. Mayor Kim, we had several questions that really came out of previous forums, and let me just ask the question in an open way, really, which is, if you're elected, how do you plan for yourself and your cabinet members to divide your time between the county building in Hilo, West Hawaii Civic Center, and other parts of the island? And we're going to go with you first, Mayor Kim, and we're talking about you and your cabinet heads. 90 seconds.
I've been in a kind of a funny predicament. Every job I've had for the past 40 years that was working for the county of Hawaii was that of management, LEA administrator, civil defense administrator, and mayor's administration. I think there are lots of people here who are managers, and you know that management, the skills of management, the philosophy of management is basically an individual thing, but there are certain principles involved with it. I think the question is that are you going to put people full-time in West Hawaii, or are you going to, how much time you're going to spend in West Hawaii? I do not believe in splitting up the management team of this very best island. You know, we have more than Kona and Hilo, obviously. We have Kahu'u, we have Puna, we have Kohala. And I believe in keeping your management team intact so you can work with them every time you want to. The most important issue is the delivery of service to Kona and every other district. And that's what we need to work on. How do we get to deliver service? And I think the development of the West Hawaii Civic Center, you know it was started on administration. The vision of it was that in time we will staff that place to provide all the services necessary and also the communication element necessary to do the job.
Mayor Kenoi, 90 seconds.
Well, I respectfully disagree with that. I believe that our island requires that everybody be treated fairly and equitably. 4 years ago, going around the island, people were very upset. People wanted 2 counties. People feel like there was an inequity. There was an unfairness of government. You know, how does somebody who lives on Karawani Street go 10 minutes to see the mayor or department head, but if you live on Kaiminani Street or Hinalani Street, you got to drive 4 hours for the very same meeting. So we made a commitment that our administration will have department heads from West Hawaii, from Waimea. Director of Public Works, Warren Lee, is from here in Waimea. Our housing director is from West Hawaii. Our Parks and Recreation director is from West Hawaii. And I made a commitment to be in West Hawaii and around our island every single week. We haven't missed a single week of being there. And I require my department heads who call West Hawaii home to work in East Hawaii every week. And our department heads who call East Hawaii home have to work in West Hawaii every week. So you listen, you understand the different concerns in different areas of the community. And in addition to that, we took our cabinet into 50 community meetings, all 18 department heads, police chief, fire chief, directors. We went to Holualoa, Honaunau, Benue Waimea every single year. Kohala, Na'alehu, Ocean View, Ohala, Puna, all very important communities, and they deserve access to their government.
Mayor Kim, we had a follow-up question to that, which is, as Mayor Kenoi mentioned, up until about 4 years ago, there was a lot of talk of splitting East and West Hawaii, making 2 counties, because some people felt disenfranchised. So if you go with your management philosophy of basing yourself and your department heads in Hilo, how, and we're only going to give you 30 seconds, Liz, how do you plan to make sure that people don't go back to wanting to split our county, which is not going to happen because that isn't up to the county, it's up to the state, and they won't let it happen? 30 seconds.
I think the problem because East and West Hawaii wasn't a matter of management styles. It was a huge dissatisfaction of services delivered, especially that of infrastructures. I am very proud of what has happened in the 4 years to 8 years because of aggressiveness. And the brochures are out there, and most of you know what was done in those 8 years. And it was based on a management style. Not that that management style is the best. It is my style to address the problems, and it was addressed.
30 seconds more, Mayor Kenoi, anything to add?
Know that we commit to our communities to take our cabinet into every community. We'll continue to maintain that commitment. I'll continue to work island-wide. We'll respond whenever needed. I think it's the only way you can truly understand what's going on is having your department heads and yourself and your administrative team to work island-wide. This is a big island with small communities, and it's important that everybody have a meaningful voice and meaningful input. That's what keeps us together as a community.
Right, keep the microphone. This is a question that you guys have discussed a lot, and we're going to give you 2 minutes to answer it because it is a huge issue. At one of the recent forums, you seem to come to alignment on the issue of dealing with our trash, which, as Mayor Kim recently pointed out to me, has existed since 1992 or maybe even before. The solution you both seem to have arrived at is waste to energy, but please talk about it, recognizing that I believe even Mayor Kenoi, your own plan, it's the most expensive alternative. Just talk about your solution to our solid waste problem, 2 minutes.
Yes, well, this is a solid waste, and our waste stream has been around since 1992. It's been a challenge for the county for 20 years now. I would have really appreciated if that was addressed previous, but it's our duty and our responsibility. And what's available is, one, expanding the Hilo landfill, which is a tremendous challenge, very cost prohibitive because you have to deal with the high level of rainfall, which creates a lot of leachate, and we'll probably need either a wastewater treatment plant or wetlands. But because it's right next to the airport, you encounter other challenges. So it becomes either trucking a puan hulu or waste reduction technology. Now, in 2007, there was a waste to energy proposal that was going to cost the taxpayers $125 million, a Willowberry proposal. What we've done after gathering information, because to make a good decision, you need good information. And we can't continue to kick this can down the road another 20 years. People have had a lot of time to deal with it, but now we have to deal with it. Currently, we spend $138 a ton dealing with our solid waste. But H-Power, which is a form of waste to energy, and it has operated efficiently and safely on Oahu for the last 20 years. They process 2,100 tons a day of trash on Oahu, generates 57 megawatts of electricity, powers 40,000 homes, and they do it for $91 a ton. Now, this is a technology that's not new, that isn't exploratory, it's not demonstrative, it's proven technology that exists in Hawaii. We have 205 tons of waste, solid waste in East Hawaii, 332 tons in West Hawaii, for a total of 537 tons. Now we have an opportunity to process that using H-Power. We're not trucking to divide our community, it's not cost prohibitive like expansion of our landfill, and it's not a waste, it's a form of energy.
Mayor Kim, I know you have strong feelings on the subject. 2 minutes, please.
A very strong feelings, but it's not going to be done in 2 minutes. What I'm going to ask all of you at this point, and it's going to be an eye-opener for all of you who have not read it. Please read the 2002 Integrated Solid Waste Plan. It's the plan required by the state. Please read the Integrated Solid Waste Update of 2009, which commented on what we did for the period between 2002 and 2008. Highly complimentary. Here's advice. Highly complimentary in regards to doubling the recycling because the 2002 plan emphasized that. Highly complimentary in regard to pursuing the waste to energy. It was their recommendation that we pursue alternatives. We sent out a national request for proposal, a little bit of wanted, and we came within one vote of having that being in effect. Take a look at the plan of 202, take a look at the plan of 209. What was surprising on the 209 plan there also was that they, and I was quite surprised, that they do not recommend we pursue waste to energy at this time and see what else can be done at this time as we buy time to look at alternative ways, because their goal, as they stated in the Mayor's Advisory Board, is zero waste, which is very ambitious. What they want to take this time to take a look at what else we can do. But I will say this, take a look at those two plans, and I think you will be very pleased at what your county government did during the period of that 8 years in addressing this problem.
Mayor, can I have 30 more seconds for any comment?
No, it's just that this problem has been around for 2 decades now in the county of Hawaii, and the reason it hasn't been addressed because it's very difficult and it costs a lot of money. If it was easy, it would have been done already. We're very confident that we have a team in place, administration in place, relationships with the federal and state government that allows us to work cooperatively and collaboratively to finally have a solution to solid waste that doesn't hurt or harm our environment and that provides a source of renewable energy that expands our renewable energy grid. Sounds like a win-win, and it's up to us to do it.
Mayor Kim, 30 more seconds. Any comments?
This can was not kicked down the road for you to handle. We addressed it, and proud of how we addressed it, and you will be proud of all the things the community did. Do you know that you led the state in regards to proposal to the state legislature to let this island be a model for redemption bill? There's so many things that you can be proud of. Just read the plan, and I think you will agree to it. This needs to be addressed, and it will be addressed.
Thank you. Mayor Kim, keep the microphone. There was an article in West Hawaii today, last Sunday, also in the Tribune Herald by Erin Miller about budget management, comparing what happened in the 8 years you were mayor to the 4 years that Mayor Kenoi has been mayor, pointing out that under you, Mayor Kim, the budget doubled from something like $190 million to $408 million. I'm not sure if those are the exact figures. And then during that time, property taxes went up significantly. So the question is, what's your budget management thinking for the next 4 years? Because people are expressing concern that your plan is to just get everything done by raising taxes and increasing the budget. So please address that. And this is a 90-second question.
Thank you. I think if you look at the budget messages, I think that's the best cue to our philosophy about budget. First of all, clarification, county budget is very simple. The revenues you get will dictate how much money you have to spend. You submit the budget based on the anticipated revenues to the county council. I'm not even going to spend that money, whether it's 400 million or 200 million. I'm very proud again of the tremendous increase in revenues. I think all of us are, because there was a 20-year period of constant downside of the closure of sugar, crash of the tourist industry in the 1990s and early 2000s. And then good fortune, revenues tremendously increased, allowing us to play catch up with so many things, including the hiring of over 140 police officers that every community said we are behind, because there was almost a 10-year freeze of any hiring, including the hiring of over 140 fire personnel at the staffing of the emergency environmental management division that was mandated by the charter. What is not being emphasized here is that we knew, and you can look at the, I've asked you to look at the budget message. We instilled in the budget for the first time rainy day fund saving millions to anticipated shortage. We anticipated shortage and we created emergency fund. Take a look at the budget. Yes, the budget increased because the revenues increased, but take a look at how we spent it and how many taxes we cut. We cut 8 out of the 9 categories of taxes.
Thank you. 90 seconds, Mayor Billy Kenoi. According to the West Hawaii Today article, the budget has been decreased by, I think, about $38 million, and just because taxes have decreased as well. But what are you looking at budget-wise philosophically over the next 4 years? Because you both have talked about programs, especially garbage, that will definitely cost money to the county. So what's your budget management plan for the next 4 years? 90 seconds only.
We'll continue to exercise fiscal restraint. If you look at county government since 1980, it has continuously increased. Mayor Monteyoshi went up over 40%. Mayor Carpenter went up 27%. Under Mayor Akana went up 40+%. Under Mayor Inouye, it went up 20+%. Under Mayor Yamashiro, it went up 19.5%. And in the 8 years under Mayor Kim, it went up 129%, cost of government. We had to cut the cost of government by 9.44% of $39 million. Tax collections went up 175% in the previous 8 years. Government went from $195 million in 2000 to $403 million when I took office. And for 4 consecutive years, we reduced the size and cost of government to 387, to 376, to 367, and now down to 365 million. That was an increased burden on the people and the taxpayers of the county of Hawaii. Going forward, we have to continue to manage the cost of government that doesn't put a burden on our residents and our taxpayers and our small businesses, but still provides critical programs and services. We're very proud that in spite of shrinking the cost of government and the size of government, we've maintained services to our seniors, our children, and the most vulnerable in our community. And we'll continue to exercise fiscal restraint.
Mayor, can I keep the microphone? You know, the thing is, these are all extremely complex issues, and we would like to give you tons of time, but it's time that we agree that we're going to draw this to seconds to make a closing statement, starting with you, Mayor Billy Kenoi.
I want to thank all of you for your support, your working together during some of the most challenging economic years the county and our communities have ever collectively faced. But by working together, by helping each other, by working as a community, we've been able to not only confront and face the challenges, but also to move forward as a community. Parks are being built that create safe havens for our children. Transportation system is being expanded. We see new roads, the first county-built road in West Hawaii since statehood. We're starting to see more housing opportunities. We're starting to see an economic recovery. Hawaii County is perfectly positioned to take advantage of the economic recovery we know will come. We've worked hard to protect our Hawaii Island because it is a special place, a place we're proud to call home. As a father of 3 young children, I'm blessed to call this island home and to watch our children grow up here. You know, what we're doing isn't for the next 2 years or for the next 4 years. It's for generations to come. It's for our children and their grandchildren, the decisions we make today. It's, yes, some of those decisions are difficult, but we had a philosophy that we're not going to avoid difficult decisions, we're going to make them. And as the mayor of the County of Hawaii, I accept full responsibility for those decisions. I'll continue to bring government to our communities. I'll continue to travel around this island listening to concerns, but more importantly, working with federal, state partners to get things done. Mahalo.
90 seconds, Mayor Harry Kim.
You know, when I first started campaigning, first few terms and now this, I thought I had a tremendous advantage because all I had to say really was I worked for you for 40 years, it demonstrated management style, it demonstrated priorities, it demonstrated how we work with the community. And I still believe that. And I tweaked a little bit in regards to doing different things this time. In regards to this next election, when people ask me, why are you running now? I think this is a very crucial time for all of us. There's no really right or wrong here. It's a matter of where you stand in regards to where you want your government to go and how it should be. This is why we created a community development plan process. It was based on that whole principle that the state of Hawaii is the only state that does not have any kind of municipal government. In other words, the smallest government level to the people. We know constitutional change was not a possibility. So the CDP process was developed under administration to force government to work closer with you so you will have a say on where you go. Other reasons around is because of the state and the county administration passing or supporting bills that took away home rule. Please look at Act 97, look at Act 55, and you'll know what I'm talking about. I do thank all of you for being here and listening to us tonight.
Thank you. Before we say aloha, I just want to tell you that Sharon Warner is going to make 2 announcements before we say goodbye, and we want to especially thank Ethan, our timer, because that's the toughest job of the week. So just one moment before we thank our candidates, let Sharon make his announcements.
One of the special thanks to Sherry. That's the hardest job. And I wanted to thank everybody for contributing over $200 to the food pantry tonight. Very generous and very needed. Also, the Peter Sullivan Halau is packing up their chili in small containers. Free, take, and enjoy it. We'll thank them for their being here and for celebrating the evening. We hope to see you all at the November meeting. If you didn't sign in, please do so and write your email address legibly so that we can add you to our mailing list. And the yellow bait bucket is still there if you'd like to make a contribution. Visit our website, waimeatown.org. We're putting up a lot of information about Kofi. We're hearing it tonight, but I've heard thousands in Waimea in the last couple of weeks. Literally thousands. Thank you all. I'll see you. Oh, and please fold up the benches as you leave and put trash in the garbage can. And thank you again to all of the candidates who came to our community. And especially to our mayoral candidates